Okay, folks, Wager Detective here, 7:30 in the morning. We're live from Atlantic City. We're going to talk about this game tonight between Tulane and, you guessed it, UTSA. Tulane going to UTSA. Before we get into that, make sure you follow Wager Detective on Twitter at Wager Detective. All right, we're gonna do something here, and we're gonna look at who this offense is run by. Joe Craddock is the offensive coordinator, okay, at Tulane, okay, and he's been with this is his first year. He's going to begin his first year at Tulane as the team's offensive coordinator. He joined the Green Wave staff with 7 years experience on the FBS level. Craddock arrives at Tulane after spending the last 2 seasons at Troy. We'll find that interesting later as the story goes on between the correlation between him and Summerall, the coach at Tulane right now. He helped Troy in 2023 rank second in the Sun Belt in passing yards per completion. Guy has a lot of experience here, okay? In total, 5 of his offensive players earned all Sun Belt honors in 2023. That includes Vidal, running back Vidal, who's now in the NFL. In 2022, Craddock and the Trojans finished the season ranked in a major poll in the first time in program history, checking in at 19 in the top 25, the AP top 25. Troy hosted and appeared in the Sun Belt Championship game that year for the first time. Okay, so the guy has experience. I'm not going to get too long-winded about that. Okay, defensive coordinator. Okay, Greg Gasparato. Okay, entering his first year at Tulane as the defensive coordinator. Okay, so both coordinators are both first year at this program, but they got tons of experience before arriving in Tulane. Okay, he was the interim head coach at Troy University for the bowl game, for the Birmingham Bowl in 2023. Troy that year set the program in Sun Belt single season record with 47 sacks. Okay, so the guy has experience. Troy held 8 of its 14 opponents to fewer than 300 yards of total offense on the season that year. Okay, in his season in charge of the Troy defense, Gasparato saw 9 of his players earn all Sun Belt honors. Okay, so we have experience there. Not going to get too long-winded. He's pretty good defensive coordinator, Gasparato. Before coming to Troy, Gasparato served as Scott Satterfield's staff at Cincinnati during the transition from the 22 to 23 season. Okay, he's been with some major programs. The Cardinals led the country with 50 sacks and 3.8 sacks per game in 2022, in addition to boasting the nation's number 11 scoring defense and number 23 defense in yards allowed while he was at Louisville. Louisville defeated Cincinnati in the Fenway Bowl and won a pair of games against ranked teams, including victories against a victory against Wake Forest. Okay, so the guy has experience, okay, on the defensive side of the ball. John Summerall, let's see what he's done. 38-10 in his career. He's 15-6 at Tulane. So he was at Troy before, so there's the correlation. Both these coordinators, offensive and defensive, he kind of just plucked them from Troy, I would imagine, keep it in family. And so there's continuity all around there, and you can see that in their record, 6-1. And again, Summerall is just a good coach. 1-1 in bowls, but 38-10 in 4 years, okay? So they get it done. He makes it happen. Let's take a look at what they're doing here schedule-wise. They have won 3 in a row. They beat Tulsa. They beat East Carolina. They beat Army, okay? They have 6 turnovers on the year, 4 fumble losses, 2 interceptions, so they're doing a good job not turning the ball over, okay? And what do they like to do? Okay? They've rushed the ball 211 times, or excuse me. Come on, Jimmy. Okay, so they had 2 passing touchdowns, 4 passing touchdowns the last 2 weeks, and they have 5 rushing touchdowns the last 3 weeks. On the year, they have 13 rushing touchdowns, to only 7 passing. Okay, so they're getting in the end zone by running the ball a little bit more. Defensively, they forced their opponents 11 turnovers, 6 of them interceptions, 5 fumble losses recovered. Okay, offensively, they're led by, okay, Jake Retzlaff was at BYU last year, okay, transferring for BYU. But if you look at what he did last year compared to this year, he cut down on the interceptions. He led the conference in interceptions last year in his conference with 12 of them. He's only got 1 this year, but he's got a lot less touchdown passes as well. So Retzlaff likes to get it done, moving the ball with his legs and his arm. Okay, and let's see who's getting it done on this team. Rushing, Zuberi Mobley, 2 rushing, and then look at Retzlaff. He's got 8 rushing touchdowns on the year, and they got 13 all together there. But Retzlaff's got more than half of those. Receiving touchdowns, they only got 7. Okay, you're looking at the security blankets here: Mobley, Shackelford, Preston. So they're more of a running team than they are a passing team. Let's take a look at kicking. I wanted to get into this Patrick Durkin. Look at this. The kicker Durkin, 14 for 14, 100% field goal percentage. So he's having a great year. Hasn't missed a field goal yet. Defenses and fumbles. If you look at this team, they're not really impressive on the defensive side of the ball. They got 15 sacks on the year, 39 tackles for loss, 6 interceptions, 5 fumble recoveries. So they're a middle of the pack team. Want to look at see what they've done. I mean, their opponent's record, I believe, is 20-24. I did a little quick cap of that. And then they've won 3 in a row. Their only loss was at Ole Miss, and they don't beat themselves with turnovers, okay? Let's take a look at who they're going to be playing today. Okay, they're going to be taking on UTSA. I will say that UTSA, under Jeff Traylor, they are 9-0 in their last home November games. 9-0 in their last 9 home November games under Jeff Traylor, and he's not a bad coach himself. 49-24, all with UTSA. He's 2-3 in bowl games, winning his last 2. Okay, so they're coached very, very well. You know, you got a 67 winning percentage there, so they're pretty solid there. Okay, so let me take a look here and see what they've done this year. Let's go into the schedules. Okay, see what they've done. They're on a little bit of a up and down season. They played Texas A&M to start the year, and they lost respectively. I mean, that aged well, that loss. They lose by 18, but look at this. Only 7 turnovers, 4 of them by interception, 3 by fumble loss, and then they're forcing their opponents to the same amount of turnovers, 7 turnovers for their opponents. So they're not plus, they're not minus, they're even there. How do they like to get into the end zone? At UTSA, they got 14 passing touchdowns, and they got 13 rushing. So they're way more balanced than Tulane, right? UTSA 9-0 in home games in November under Jeff Traylor, their last 9, okay? Now, they lost at North Texas last week. They had 3 turnovers, as you can see there. Okay, 3 turnovers, and they just didn't get it done. I mean, they had 1 rushing touchdown and 1 passing, but 3 turnovers is going to hurt you, but you got clobbered there. But North Texas, we know how good they are. I mean, they're 7-1 on the year, so not a bad loss there. And then the week before that, you clobbered Rice, which is having a pretty good year at 4-4, with a tough schedule for them too. So they're coming off a loss on the road. Now they're coming home. Lost their first 2 games, but then picked it up. I mean, tough to gauge there. What have they done? They gave up 5 passing touchdowns last week, and they gave up 2 rushing. You got to think that they're going to come back home fired up, ready to go this week after losing that game, and they're 9-0 in their last 9 home November games. under the coach. And if you looked at what we said about Tulane, they're not getting turnovers. They're not really prolific on defense and getting the balls turnover. So we get into this UTSA offense. Look at this. Owen McNown, 13 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. The kid's pretty good. He's in his 3rd year at UTSA, okay? And he's got 13-4 in the touchdowns, and he's got 130.5 quarterback rating, okay? I like it. I like what they're doing there, okay? Let's take a look. See what's going on here. Okay? I want to kind of keep this as short-winded as possible. If my phone could just catch up here. It's running a little slow. Okay? Oh, we're gonna run into problems here with this. Okay, so UTSA statistics. I'm going to take a look at that, see what they like to do. Okay, take a look at what they're doing. Robert Henry's got 8.3 rushing yards per average on the ground, and he's leading the conference, the American, in attempts with 868. And then you look at A.J. Wilson, 20.9 yards per reception. He's got 3 touchdowns on the year. So they're a balanced attack, like we said. 13 touchdowns rushing and 14 receiving. They keep the ball moving in different directions. Defensively, what do they like to do? Who's doing what? They got 13 sacks, 48 tackles for loss, 30 passes deflected, and 5 forced fumbles. So they're tough there. If I'm going to lean aside in this game tonight to keep it short and sweet, I'm going to take the 5.5 with UTSA. So that's my call. Wager Detective calling UTSA at home tonight to bounce back after that brutal loss against North Texas. They're back home. That's my call. Wager Detective with UTSA plus 5.5 tonight versus Tulane. This is October 30th, 2025 at 7:40 a.m. And this is Wager Detective signing off.